Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It is the 17th of July, 2024, and today we're going to be talking about the Russo Bros are back. What is going on? Tubi dominating platforms, Emmy Awards, Deadpool and Wolverine soundtrack, Alien ROMULUS Popcorn Bucket that you might be able to fuck. I think it's a possibility you'll be able to have sex with that thing. That and a whole hell of a lot more. It's Hollywood After Dark. Let's fucking go. Howdy, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to another episode of Hollywood After Dark. I'm sorry I'm not on camera today. After recording yesterday, I had to go to the doctor. I ended up getting a bunch of vaccine shots. My whole body is ravaged with that today, and I'm just not feeling well. But I wasn't going to do a show. But then, of course, the news that we were all kind of somewhat waiting for finally came out, as well as a bunch of other stuff. It's not just movie news today. Like, actual industry stuff is happening, and a lot of people aren't talking about it, I think, because, well, quite frankly, in my opinion, a lot of the main channels aren't going to want to talk about this because it is not looking good. It's not looking good. There's an article earlier today asking whether or not Disney is running out of kids. That's a whole thing we're going to talk about because it feels like they're in a bit of an odd, sticky situation. Movie theater ticket prices might be increasing. If you look at current box office trends and just where things are, it's what's expected. Tubi, as I pointed out, is destroying the competition. Not just that, but other ones that are offering free ad-based models, almost as if, to some extent, we've actually been able to, identify that if you do these things for free, then people will actually stay and check it out. However, I do need to shill a little bit. I got to pimp a little bit because this is Hollywood After Dark. We have a Discord. You can head on in there. Link is in the video description, or just take a snapshot of the screen you're watching on right now. Scan the QR code. Join the HWAD squad down there in the Discord. I would like to build that up, get some people in there to have ourselves a good time. Hollywood After Dark, if you want to support it, join the premium. That's to become a channel member, become a patron, and get access to asking me questions for the show at the end of the week when we do our feedback, as well as the very secret, very special voicemail line. And that's a good way to help out as well. Or if you're looking for something just to kind of see from me that's not just this kind of stuff related, I did do a video yesterday. That is my top movies from 1990, my top 25 films from the year 1990. And I do need to kind of make a quick caveat, a bit of a correction on that one. In my haste to make a list and really kind of like going back and forth on what I felt was where it fit in the list, I totally overlooked two films from that year. I overlooked RoboCop 2 and I overlooked Gremlins 2. Both of those should have been on the list. Gremlins 2 higher on the list than maybe some of the other ones I had on there because I just love Gremlins 2. RoboCop 2 is another classic, not as good as the original, but still definitely one of the top films of the year. So, while I'm not like going to go back and re-record the video, it is one of those things where it's like, son of a bitch. Actually, I'll tell you guys a little thing. Even Turtles, TMNT, was not initially in the list of films I saw that year. I omitted it as I was going through the list of movies released in 1990. I accidentally deleted that from the list. It wasn't until I was putting the list together, getting ready to record, that it dawned on me that Turtles came out that year. And I'm just like, wait, no, this is number one. Like, how can I forget this? This is absolutely number one for me. It's just, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where, like you're so excited to kind of do it. I'll admit I got a little excited. It was more fun to kind of talk about, kind of like just go through that. And I think there's a lot of passion and love in the video of just me talking about these movies and my experience in watching them and things like that. But it's just, I feel bad because 25 still feels so restrictive. Never mind it being a lot of movies. Like I said in that video, throughout the course of the decade, I saw over 800 films. And that's just through the 90s. We haven't even got into the 2000s, the 2010s, the 1980s, the 1970s, although the 70s. Anything before I was born is going to be minimal, but after I was born, it's going to be different. But all things considered, there is that. But I do want to also touch upon something I was talking about on the Twitter the other day. I had mentioned this yesterday. I said, unpopular opinion, Steven Seagal was kind of unrivaled in certain aspects of action movies in the 90s, right? And I got a lot of people kind of pushing back on that, talking about like Arnold and Sly and Bruce and everything else. And I'm like, look, man, they're all great. Die Hard is the greatest action movie of all time. Rambo are classics. Arnold with Commando and Terminator and T2 and True Lies and everything else he did in the 90s. But there was something special about Seagal. There was something special about the movies that he did. There was something that, you did. It was very street level stuff. It wasn't science fiction. It wasn't out of this world. It wasn't over. I mean, it was definitely over the top, but it was like lone wolf type stuff. Guy who knew martial arts, taking on a whole bunch of baddies, but from the street perspective. Lots of violence, lots of action, lots of shooting, interesting enough plots, 3-word titles, right? Above the law, marked for death, hard to kill, out for justice, on deadly ground, fire down below, and then of course you had your Under Siege 2, and those movies are classics in and of themselves. And I think that Seagal, he was always a nut job. He's even more of one now. And it pains me to talk about that, because after I did a Boulder Talk last night, I just was in so much pain from everything that I just started watching Steven Seagal movie trailers. And anything post like 2001 just gets lazy and lazier and lazier and lazier. And you're just like, okay, I get it. This is, yeah, fine. Okay, stupid. It's just, it sucks because like those movies are always going to be classics, even if he is just completely batshit insane. But that being said, I wanted to touch upon that real quick, because Seagal will always hold a special place in my heart, especially for stuff like at the, when I was a kid and we would go to like the video store and you would see the Seagal movies and you would just want to rent them because that's how cool they were. You know what I mean? But then again, we've all have different upbringings. However, if you like me and you want to go see a movie in the theater and you want to buy yourself an overpriced popcorn bucket that you can maybe have sex with, take a look here at this. This is the Alien Romulus Popcorn Bucket, exclusive, I believe, to AMC. There are no AMCs near me, so for me getting my hands on one is going to be very difficult. But it seems weird that is what they're doing. It just looks like one of the weirdest damn things. Just to get the Xenomorph skull and to put that on my shelf would be pretty cool. I do like the fact that we are in this weird age of, instead of having Happy Meal toys that are movie themed, I mean, they still have those, but now it's like the older kid, or I should say like the kid who grew up into like the elder millennial, right? They are now like wanting to buy this stuff because this reminds them of their childhood, very similar to getting some of the toys from McDonald's. And I really do think that's like all it is. I think that's really who it's aimed for. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Because again, there are certain things that you get when you're younger or that you just want to get when you're older, because there's a lot of great nostalgia there. In fact, I want to kind of bring up this 4K announcement we had yesterday coming in through Zavvi, one worth pre-ordering at $45.99 if you happen to be a fan of Matthew Vaughn's 2007 awesome as hell book movie Stardust, based on the Neil Gaiman story. I mean, this has Charlie Cox, a few years before the boy popped up in Daredevil and became our Man Without Fear. Robert De Niro, Michelle Pfeiffer, Claire Danes, Robert Duvall in like a really great pirate role. It's such a good movie. It's going to be $45. I just wanted to show that real quick. I'd like to focus a bit more at times. Focus a little bit more at times on the 4K stuff, because there is something I'm going to be covering tomorrow. I didn't have time to add it into the show today, but it's about how 4Ks are selling, and they're not selling well. In fact, it's declined quite a bit, but we will definitely talk about that tomorrow, because if you guys are like, today's Prime Day, so you can order a whole bunch of stuff off Prime, a bunch of cheap movies off Prime, and that's great. But it's almost like it's just the market isn't growing and it's just becoming more niche. And that's kind of, well, it's kind of sad, but it is also showing you where the time is these days. So we've got ourselves, I talked about this yesterday. I was bitching and moaning about this yesterday, about like what they're doing in regards to promoting Deadpool and Wolverine. But they did something today that I thought was actually pretty interesting. They gave us the soundtrack to the movie. The soundtrack to the movie, we're going to be able to see. You got Bye 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 by NSYNC. You've got the Goo Goo Dolls' Iris, The Power of Love by Huey Lewis, obviously going to be time travel stuff. I'm a Ramblin' Man, You Belong to Me, The Lady in Red, I'm With You by Avril Lavigne. The Greatest Show, right? That's going to be performed by Zac Efron, Zendaya, and Hugh Jackman. You're the One That I Want, Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta from 1978's Grease, which is an absolute classic. You Make Me Lose Control, You're All That I Need to Get By Aretha Franklin, Good Riddance, The Time of Your Life by Green Day, great song, and LFG, theme from Deadpool and Wolverine by Rob Simonson. So this is what they're showing on the soundtrack. It's definitely going to be something that it should get people's attention. I don't know why. I just wanted to share that. I thought that was just kind of wild a little bit. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. The soundtrack, why not? Let's go. Like, let's effing go, right? Because that's going to be like the theme of the movie. I bet you right before it starts, someone's going to yell out, "Let's fucking go!" And because that's what they should do. And that's what they should do. It's Deadpool and Wolverine. This is what we've been waiting for. It's only a week away. Holy crap, folks. Wild to think about that. Now let's shift gears for a hot second. I want to talk about this article. This actually came up yesterday after I missed it yesterday, but it came up yesterday. So the director of the upcoming movie Twisters actually intentionally did not mention climate change, saying that movies should not preach a message, which I think is kind of weird, but okay, here's what he says. Director Lee Isaac Chung explains why his film Twisters avoids mentioning climate change. Despite scientific evidence linking changes in tornado patterns to global warming, Chung chose to not include any direct references to climate change in the movie. He emphasizes that his goal was to make a film without pushing any specific message, believing that cinema should reflect the world rather than preach to the audience. This decision aligns with a cautious approach in polarized environment, especially when aiming for a summer blockbuster hit. Although the film includes a scene hinting at changing weather, it stops short of explicitly discussing climate change. It's one of those things where they're literally telling you, read between the lines. Right? That's what they're telling you, read between the lines, is basically what they're saying. And to a lot of people out there, they're going to get it. But I mean, look, all things considered, it makes sense when you look at it from the strategic argument of like, this movie is meant to reflect the world and not be a message. We don't want to preach. We don't want to be accused of being woke. We don't want to be accused of any of the things that we know that certain elements of the online are going to do. We know that this is going to freaking happen. We know that this stuff is going to go down. We know that this is how they act when it comes to anything like this. And right now, it's just such a polarizing time. I kind of get it. But also, it's freaking, we are noticing weather changing patterns, and it is linked to climate change. And I don't think it's an issue to call it out. You can reference it as being the reason without it being preachy. Like, oh my God, why are there so many more tornadoes happening? Well, a change in weather patterns, a rise in temperature due to the polar ice caps melting and our ozone layer depleting. Throw that into ChatGPT and go summarize this for a 5-year-old. And then just find a way to add it in there with dialogue aimed at a 5-year-old, because these people are so stupid, they will not understand. They'll just go, oh, okay. Right? Like, that's all you got to do is just do that. And I feel like I'm more right than not on that one there. Honestly, I'm just so freaking frustrated with all that stuff. But the movie is apparently doing well right now, based on 103 reviews, which is quite a few for a movie that hasn't quite come out yet. It is sitting at 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of people view the original film as a masterpiece, a great piece of summer cinema, blockbuster cinema. I'll tell you this, I haven't seen it. I bought it just recently. I found the DVD for like $2. I haven't seen Twister, so I should sit down and watch it, because I do want to see this one as well. But anyway, yeah, I need to watch the Twister. I know people can be like, "What, you haven't seen Twister yet, Matt? What are you doing?" I haven't seen a lot of stuff. All right. I haven't seen a lot of stuff. That's kind of how it goes. I got stuff to do. I get to it when I get to it. Okay. I'm trying. Okay. I'm trying. But you know what else happened today? The Emmys. And we found out that when it came to best nominees for best animated series, Blue Eye Samurai from Netflix, X-Men 97 from Disney Plus, Scavenger's Reign, I think that's from Max, Bob's Burgers, and The Simpsons were nominated. It's going to probably go to either Bob's Burgers or The Simpsons, but I would hope for X-Men 97. I hear Blue Eye Samurai is good, and I've heard good things about Scavenger's Reign. So there are shows there worth checking out, which is pretty solid. Again, I will always advocate for Bob's Burgers. That show's my favorite. Also, Fallout was nominated for 16 Emmys. A lot of shows today, a lot like The Bear, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, other shows I'm not thinking of right now. They all got like multiple Emmy awards. I think Shogun got the most with 25 individual Emmy nominations, which is massive. And one of the reasons why they're currently looking to start shooting season 2 early 2025, although maybe not a good thing. I hear that it's like based on a book and it just maybe not complete past the book. I don't know what they're going to do. But Fallout here getting nominated for 16 Emmys is pretty damn fantastic. However, Walton Goggins is the only actor on the show to get nominated. Ella Purnell denied, snubbed, if you will, for being loosey-goosey. So no okie dokie for her. And if you are an okie dokie fanatic, just get off the ledge. I'm talking to one person in specific. He knows who he is. He knows who he is, and he knows what he's done. So, all right, let's talk about the concept here of Disney running out of children. Okay. This is coming in from Business Insider, article titled here, Disney has a kid crisis. Children used to grow up watching Mickey Mouse. Now they're all on YouTube. And that's actually true. I tried to show my 6-year-old Rocky and Bullwinkle today. I loved Rocky and Bullwinkle as a kid. Never mind the fact that the show was like 20 years older than me. But, I was born in 82. It's like what, from the late 60s? It's like 15 years older than me, somewhere in there. But I grew up watching the show. I love the show. I tried showing it to her. She was like, Dad, I want to watch YouTube Kids. I want to watch the Brain Rot with YouTube Kids. And I'm like, because it sucks because I can't force her to like something that I like. But I get it. The kids aren't watching all that stuff. Like right now, to kind of compromise, minus the brain rot, they're watching Barbie Dreamland Adventures or Dreamhouse Adventures on Netflix. There's actually a whole series of Barbie shows on there with the same voice cast, like continuing the adventures of the family. It's actually pretty good, I'm not going to lie. I was surprised with how decent it was. But anyway, this is what we know, okay? When Bob Iger returned as Disney CEO in late 2022, the company was struggling with poor earnings and bad press from his predecessor, Bob Chapek. Within a year, Iger delivered strong earnings, announced partnerships with Epic Games and Taylor Swift, on a streaming platform, boosting Disney stock. However, challenges remain, including a declining TV business, weak box office numbers, and the need to name a successor. Disney's biggest issue is losing its grip on its young audience. The Disney Channel's viewership has plummeted, with kids now favoring YouTube, which accounts for 2/3 of their TV watch time. In 2023, children watched 3 times more YouTube than Disney Plus content, posing a threat to Disney's long-term fan base and its other business arms, like theme parks and merchandise. Disney's attempt to adapt include releasing content on YouTube and investing in gaming through a $1.5 billion stake in Epic Games. Despite these efforts, Disney struggles to compete with the platforms like YouTube, where kids increasingly prefer short-form videos and content created by peers. Yeah, it's not good, right? So to secure its future, Disney needs to attract young fans, but it lacks easy solutions. While its franchises remain strong with top streaming movies and popular Marvel and Star Wars spin-offs, the company faces a challenge of evolving consumer behavior. The reliance on established franchises carries risk, and fresh, engaging content will be crucial for Disney's continued success. So is Disney losing the children? Yeah, they are. And you're going to have, again, certain chuds, right? They're going to be like, oh, it's because they've gone woke and DEI and diversity. Oh, my God, diversity. Terrible diversity. That ain't the issue. It's just a changing in the trends. The thing is, though, Disney does need to stop kind of resting on its laurels, right? Why do kids watch YouTube? Like, I can look at my 6-year-old. Like, she likes to watch content made by families for families. Even though a lot of it is very ridiculous, a lot of it is brain rot, a lot of it is terrible, it is content that feels sincere. It's content that feels like it's developed for people like them. You know what I mean? And I've been accused of that before as well. Like, people say, well, you take this too seriously. You sound like you take this too seriously. And yes, I love this stuff. So I'm going to try to speak with a little bit of authority. You know what I mean? Like that's my goal. My goal here, I am trying to it's so weird because I do try to like convey a fun conversational approach to things, but I also am very passionate about a lot of it. And that's just how my vocal patterns are. But I get it, right? I like watching stuff made by other people as well. That's why I've been championing like the indie horror scene recently. I feel like you're getting more unique voices out of there. The homogenization of corporate media is very just delineating of what feels like creativity. Like movies made by committee are just done in order to really kind of like work on the what's it called? What do I want to say here? Like to work with the box office. That's all they're trying to do. And that's failing. We're going to talk about movie theater ticket prices here in a second, but it's true. It's like, I look at all this stuff and I think to myself, like, Disney has got to get its shit together. Okay. Disney has got to get its stuff together. And the biggest reason why it can't do that is because they are in a space right now where they are so worried about being so homogenous that they're going to end up, very much trying to just please everyone, which ultimately pleases no one, right? We know that this kind of stuff happens. And that's a big problem. Like here's what Disney needs to invest in to get the younger fans. It's not a $1.5 billion investment into Epic Games. It's not Fortnite. Okay. What they need to do is they need to adopt what let's say Universal is doing with Super Mario Land, having AR, having VR, having augmented reality, virtual reality, stuff that is interactive. Like the idea of what the Galactic Star Cruiser was without it just being a complete like dumpster fire. That's what they need to do in order to bring in the new people. We are in an age now where the younger generation knows more about like how to use their smart devices than probably anything else because they're growing up with technology. I'm what's known as a Zennial. I was born in 1982. A Zennial is a person born between 1977 and 1983. People who had largely analog childhoods and digital adolescences. And that's where I'm at. So like, yeah, I want to go to like Disneyland with my kids and enjoy all the same stuff that like they would enjoy. But I understand to keep people's interest in a lot of this stuff now, you absolutely have to be technologically facing forward. Disney is not there for some reason. They keep going back to this well and it's like, it's not working. And eventually, look, all empires eventually crumble. And Iger just needs to find the right pathway forward. And I think a lot of it's going to be with the investment in technology for their theme parks, their cruise ships, whatever they do with Galactic Star Cruiser, that hotel, whatever they do with whatever going forward. And even Disney Plus itself needs to find ways to be more interactive. But we are in a paradigm shift right now. And again, like I said, their biggest thing is they want there to be a lot of money coming in through the box office. And that may be not happening as much. But here's an article that was coming out today. Movie ticket prices might get more expensive very soon. And here's why. And this is coming in from Slash Film, which is pulling from another article. So let me just kind of pull that down here. According to the PwC's Global Entertainment and Media Outlook report, global box office and cinema revenue are forecasted to exceed pre-COVID levels by 2026. Despite this positive outlook for revenue, the number of cinema admissions is not expected to return to pre-pandemic levels within the next 5 years. In fact, admissions are projected to fall short by 1.5 billion compared to 2019 levels by 2028. In North America alone, admissions are forecast to decrease significantly from 1.3 billion in 2019 to 953 million in 2028, meaning people just aren't going to theaters. All right. Like this is now we pretty much know that this is what's going on now, but they are looking to still make money. So why is that? Because they're going to have to increase prices. That's how they're going to do it, which is only going to like further the divide between the haves and the have-nots when this is a working man's art form, to quote Quentin Tarantino. Saying here, the anticipated revenue growth is primarily attributed to increased ticket prices and advertising revenue rather than a recovery in the number of tickets sold. The report indicates that cinemas will rely on hiking ticket prices to drive revenue growth amidst declining attendance. This trend suggests that moviegoers can expect to pay more for tickets as theaters seek to offset the reduced volume of admissions with higher pre-ticket revenue. Yeah. It's not good. But they do use last year as a reference. So in 2023, cinema spending at the box office saw a 30.4% year-on-year increase, driven by a number of blockbuster releases. This momentum is expected to continue, with projections indicating that global cinema revenue will reach nearly $44 billion in 2026, up from $41.34 billion in 2025. So this is all estimates for what's, showing us that things are going to increase over time. But the only way they're going to get there is they're going to get there by increasing ticket prices. So instead of, lessening the budget of these movies in order to make their profits have greater impact on the company, instead of investing, I think AMC, or is it Regal? I think it's Regal is investing into upgrading their theaters in order to make them more approachable. Because again, now with like the reclining seats and everything else, like people want these experiences to be a premium, and they'll pay for it if the movie's worth it. But I think that people are going to lessen how many times they go see a movie per year, and they're going to do this because they just don't have the damn money. And everything else will be coming to streaming pretty soon, or coming out to home video. We know this because if you look at, like, let's say, like what Universal has done. Universal has released a multitude of films on PVODs in the last 4 years and have made well over $1 billion in profit from doing it, by just having the movies be in theaters for a little bit and then go out to PVOD. And like I keep saying, that's going to be the market going forward, is really the movies having shorter windows for theatrical releases is really just being done to springboard people's knowledge that the movies are coming home, and they'll be able to get them and watch them from the comfort of their couch without having to deal with the general public, which, let's be fair, also suck. They also suck. And right now, again, these streaming services are really kind of what people are turning to, even though they're like streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus and everything else are having a fair amount of problems. There's an article that came out just yesterday that I missed as well, saying fast platforms had bigger TV share than many premium streamers once again in June. What's driving their success? And they're talking about stuff like Tubi and Roku and Pluto and things like that. So here's generally the article breakdown. In June, free ad-supported streaming television, this would be free ad-supported streaming television. That's what's FAST. That's the acronym. So platforms like Tubi, the Roku channel, and Pluto TV collectively garnered a larger share of television viewership, 4.3%, than premium subscription services like Max, Paramount Plus, and Peacock, which only had 3.7%. According to the Nielsen's report, Tubi alone achieved a 2% share, matching Disney Plus in viewer statistics. The success of FAST channels is driven primarily by their free access, appealing to consumers amidst rising costs of premium services. Never mind their content. Their content, they have older content. They have like obscure and niche content. It almost feels like you can find some piece of treasure on Tubi, find a little unseen gem, something that's overlooked, versus what gets brought to you by the algorithm on Disney Plus and on Netflix and things like that, where the infinite scroll is an issue. I don't have much of an issue with infinite scrolling on Tubi. I do when I go to watch something on Netflix or Disney Plus. Now, Andrew Rosen, a former Viacom executive, suggests that the viewing experience and product quality are crucial for fast platforms, which prioritize user-friendly interfaces and personalized recommendations. Again, if you can figure out what you want to see, people will click on it. These platforms offer a broad range of content, focusing more on acquired titles and original programming, enhancing their appeal. The shift towards ad-supported models by even premium services indicates a changing landscape where consumers question the value of paying for content available for free. And this goes all the way back to television. If I didn't have kids at this point in time, I would most likely get rid of Netflix, of Hulu, of Disney. I just, you know what? Whatever. I'll go to the lowest ad-supported model because it's getting to be super freaking expensive. I already pay $120 a month for high-speed internet. That's my bill every month. That's $1,400 a year for internet. A decade ago, I was paying $60 a month. Yeah, I get faster speeds now, but it's not like it's going to be always the same connection. You know what I'm saying? Like, they charge so much money for this now. And so, yeah, people are going to turn to ad-supported networks like Tubi and Roku because they're paying out the nose for not only all the other streaming services, but what they're paying for just internet access. And so that's where the FCC has recently came on in and said that they're going to start, I'm hoping, well, they reinstated net neutrality, and I really hope that actually ends up helping cool the costs of all of this stuff. But let's get into the final good news piece of the day. The one we all saw was coming, of course, is the Russo Bros are apparently back to direct the next 2 Avengers movies. Of course, this is just a rumor, or they're in talks, so they haven't signed on yet, but we all know it's happening. So here's what we do know. Joe and Anthony Russo, renowned for directing some of Marvel's most successful films, are in early negotiations to helm the next 2 Avengers movie. This is, of course, according to The Hollywood Reporter. The potential return to Marvel Studios follows a period where various directors, including Sean Levy, were considered for the role. By the way, Sean Levy did not take the Avengers directing role because he wants to go focus on Star Wars. And I'm like, that, bro, hell yeah, bro, do that, right? Because the Russos can handle Marvel. They can get Marvel where they need to be. Now, the Russos previously directed 4 major Marvel films, including Avengers Endgame, which did gross $2.79 billion globally. Their return would mark a significant homecoming as they transitioned from TV comedy to blockbuster filmmaking a decade ago with The Winter Soldier. Since then, they produced films like Everything Everywhere All at Once through their HBO banner, and directed streaming titles such as The Gray Man. And The Gray Man was okay, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. However, they're producing and writing, at least Joe Russo, on the Extraction franchise over at Netflix with Chris Hemsworth, directed by Sam Hargrave. Is chef's kiss, so good. Right now, it appears that Avengers 5 and 6 are going to be transitioning away from Kang, which is unfortunate. They should just recast him. All right, they're going to be renaming it and refocusing after his conviction for assault, which it's like he's already acting again, so it's so weird. I look, given everything where we are right now with the society, Jonathan Majors could come back. He could do an apology tour, and everyone would be freaking fine with that, right? But everyone's so afraid. Again, it's this whole look at Kyle Gass might have broken up Tenacious D because he made a dumb joke. You know what I mean? Like, people are too damn sensitive, man. Now, look, I'm not trying to minimize assault convictions, to be fair. Okay. I don't want to minimize that, but I feel like people can come back. We just have to be open for them to come back. They have to be remorseful and hug that cactus. The downside to it is, though, is that a lot of the times people, when they get busted doing this kind of stuff, they really are just pieces of crap. And that part sucks. But anyway, Avengers, they've, I lost my spot here. So, Avengers 5 is not going to be the Kang Dynasty. The 6th film, which would be Secret Wars, might happen. This, of course, is the adaptation from the 1980s and 2015 comic series, including or involving a bunch of multiversal battles on a planet called Battle World. And I think that's where it's going to go. I think that's what they're going to try to do, because that's what I think all things considered, kind of what they have to do, is they have to get themselves to a point where they can bring in all of these characters that they have, all of these actors, all of these variants, and then throw them all together to make everyone lose their damn mind. Instead of focusing on, I don't know, like better storytelling and maybe fewer ensembles and more grounded storytelling, and get out of the cosmic a little bit. Because again, I think people like it when it's grounded to earth. People like it when characters are, in a space where it feels like the stakes matter. And again, that's why I think Captain America Brave New World is going to be probably one of the bigger hits that they've had in a while because of that. Now, Deadpool and Wolverine is going to do amazing because it's Deadpool, it's Wolverine, and it's the merging of the two universes. So that it is a very significant film. But in my opinion, I would just rather them go to some stuff that felt simpler and then build from there. Unfortunately, Feige, I don't know. I think he was just way too pulled in different directions. But listen, guys, this is the end of the show. So remember, if you haven't already, please head on over to the Discord. You can find the link in the video description, or just take a snapshot of the screen here. Get the QR code, join on up, join the party. Good people in there, or become a channel member, Hollywood After Dark Premium. Get access to Feedback Fridays and the voicemail lines. Thank you guys for that. And then also be sure to check out my top movies from 1990. It's like a 36-minute video. I think it's pretty fun. I watched it again last night. Non-biased, but I thought it was pretty good. And then I also have like the Overlooked Hotel talking about Judgment Night, and then Patio commentary Late Night with the Devil. Yeah, a lot going on. I'm trying to build up everything that I possibly can because look, I love movies. I want to talk about them. That's of course what I'm doing, and that's why I'm here. And it's just you know what, guys, it's movies. This is what we love to do, what we love to talk about, what we love to be a part of. And so I look forward to your thoughts, your opinions. Let me know down in the comment section. I'll talk to you all later, guys. It's Hollywood After Dark. Yeah.